Okay, I gotta think of a good intro gag for the fact that we're doing Dimir Ninja Zombies for the Brewing Labs. Let's do some research here. Wait, Ninja Zombies is an actual movie? Hey Jen, wanna watch a cheesy movie?
Get back!
Okay, let's skip the movie night and get straight to the deck, shall we? No, Jen, you're not in the deck. Well, anyway, welcome everybody to this episode of the Brewing Labs. Hello, everybody, and welcome to a sneaky crawly episode of the Brewing Labs. Now, as requested based on a poll, we are actually making this fun Neon Dynasty Alchemy deck, which is literally Zombie Ninjas. Which I am still surprised is an actual movie. I was kind of dumbfounded by that, if I'm being legit honest. Well, nevertheless, we're now going to go over the deck. So basically, this is a Dimir list. The basic premise is we're wanting to essentially repeat ETP as well as exploit triggers and get value from them with both from zombies as well as ninjas. So we have a 1-drop slot, which is Thousand Face Shadows. Just a very powerful 1-drop, being able to essentially have a 1/1 flyer that's very nifty that allows us to sneak damage in and also be able to activate ninjutsu. It itself also has a very nifty ninjutsu trigger as well. So whenever this enters the battlefield from your hand, if it's attacking, we create a token that's a copy of another target attacking creature. And that token enters the battlefield tapped and attacking. So we can ninjutsu this in later game and create a copy of any of our attacking creatures. That is very powerful. We also have Shambling Gas, one of the more powerful 1-drop zombies in Standard as well as in Alchemy. Just a 1-mana 1/1. Pretty much when it dies, we can make a creature get -1/-1, or we can create a treasure token. Now, in these lists, you usually will see people running Deadly Dispute. For the sake of keeping with the theme, we did cut Deadly Dispute out of this list to throw in another 2-drop zombie. Though I will say, I will talk about the card that we could probably cut for Deadly Dispute, but for the most part, this is also ridiculously synergistic with Deadly Dispute because, well, you sacrifice a zombie, get 2 treasures, draw 2 cards. Very good. There's a reason why Deadly Dispute is a very popular common, let's just say. Then we get to our 2-drop stops. This is probably the card you can cut out, technically speaking, if you want to throw Deadly Dispute in. But I did want to try out this. The reason we decided to go with Alchemy for this Dimir brew is because zombies actually got a ridiculously big buff thanks to the recent patch recently. So this is one of the buff zombies, which is Stitch Assistant. A 2-mana 2/1 that has exploit, and when this exploits a creature, scry 2, then draw a card. Very nifty, especially to play like a Shambling Gas turn 1, and then Stitch Assistant to essentially scry 2, draw a specific card, and ramp or use as removal to get the -1, or even a Thousand Face Shadow if we think the card draw is really nifty. We're also running our 2-drop ninja here, which is the Moon Circuit Hacker. A very powerful 2-drop ninja, being able to ninjutsu in this for 1 blue mana, very, very nifty. Being able to deal combat damage to a player, we may draw a card. If we do, then we discard a card unless Moon Circuit Hacker into the battlefield this turn, a la essentially if it entered in through ninjutsu. So, very powerful ninja in our deck. Then we're running Tainted Adversary, just a nice 2-mana zombie that's a 2/3 with Death Touch. It can sneak in for combat damage pretty nifty since nobody really wants to block a Death Touch creature. But later down the line, we can pump mana into this creature, make it bigger, as well as bring a bunch of zombie decayed friends, which is very nifty because we can use those decay tokens for stuff like Skull Scab, another buff card from the Alchemy patch, which is a Dimir color 2/2 bear exploit. Whenever your creature you control exploits a creature, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. Now, the pre-nerfed version of this card had it where you had to make sure to get this trigger, you had to exploit a non-token creature. Here, you can exploit any creature, including tokens, which makes this very powerful to exploit like a decayed zombie token, and then essentially get additional zombie tokens onto the battlefield, especially if we have our token multipliers, which we will talk about in a minute. Then we're running Meathead Massacre. This is just the general popular board wipe at the moment. Very good card, allows us to clear out a very problematic board, gain some life from it, make our opponent lose life potentially. Very good card. Then we're running 2 Falcon Abominations. This is another buff card from the Alchemy patch. Essentially, everything's the same, except it has Flash, which makes this card ridiculously powerful. Specifically because we can actually tempo this in on the end of the opponent's turn, attack in with it, and then ninjutsu in one of our creatures, bounce the Falcon Abomination, then hold up the Falcon Abomination to just replay again to get more tokens of the decayed zombie variety. Very nifty. Then we also are running Selesnya. This is another good card draw engine in the deck, just a free mana free 2 with Death Touch and Exploit. When it exploits a creature, we draw 2 cards and lose 2 life. We can use this for card draw for ourselves, but if our opponent's at a very low enough life total, we can technically use this to go lethal on the opponent. Make our opponent essentially lose the life and draw cards, and make them dead. Anybody who was able to win a game with Sign in Blood knows the very satisfying effect when this occurred. Then our zombie in the or not zombie, yeah. Though, unfortunately, she has a zombie mom, so... Artifact zombie mom, but, sadness on the stack. Anyway, our third drop ninja in the deck, our free drop, is Nashi Moon Sage's Scion, a free mana free 2, legendary creature rat ninja. It also has ninjutsu for 4. Whenever this deals combat damage to a player, we can exile the top card of each player's library. Until end of turn, we may play one of those cards. And if we cast a spell this way, we have to pay a life equal to the mana value rather than paying its mana cost. This is another card draw engine into the deck, and it's just nifty to be able to ninjutsu one of our other creatures, especially our exploit or ETB creatures, and then essentially deal some damage, boop, and then gets a little semi-card draw out of it, even though we have to pay a little bit of life for it. Speaking of card draw, Kaito Shizuki! Yeah, I think everybody knows how good this card is in Standard. A very powerful free mana planeswalker, being able to essentially anytime we attack, just card draw in general. Very, very powerful ability with its +1. -2, being able to create a token is nice for our deck since we can use it to use for one of our zombie exploit triggers, or even just sneak in for a ninjutsu trigger as well. And if we, for some random reason, get to the ultimate, that's very powerful in our deck since all of our creatures are either blue or black. So being able to just get more creatures onto the battlefield whenever we deal damage to the opponent, very powerful for our deck design. Then we're running 2 Agadeem's Awakening. This is just essentially in here for more or less to, if our board gets wiped or such, later down the line we can reanimate all of our creatures back from the battlefield. We have a lot of ETB exploit triggers, and we can take full advantage of that, especially if we have something like Necroduality on the battlefield. Whenever a non-token zombie enters the battlefield under your control, you create a token that's a copy of that creature. So we can get multiple zombies. This is ridiculously absurd with Skull Scabs, so getting 2 Skull Scabs onto the battlefield, sacrificing the creature, and then getting both triggers from both the original as well as the token copy. Let's just say that's a combo you're going to be constantly doing with this deck, let me put it like that. And then, I feel remiss if we didn't put Overcharge Amalgam in this deck. You could debate about even going to a playset with this. A 4-mana free Flash Flying exploit. Whenever this exploits a creature, counter target spell, activated ability, or triggered ability. Very powerful card, essentially being able to negate anything, and then just essentially we can go over our opponent, boop, ninjutsu something in, and then essentially being able to do that, and then essentially have this counterspell into our hand again. Very, very powerful ability. So you could even debate about going 3 of these if I'm being legit honest with you. Nevertheless, we also are running specifically 22 lands in this deck. So we're running 2 islands, 2 swamp, 2 Ottawa, Soaring City. Oh, I hope I'm pronouncing these right. 2 Takanuma, Abandoned Mire, 4 Clearwater, Murkwater Pathways, 4 Shipwreck Marsh, 4 Forsaken Crossroads, and 2 Secluded Courtyards. Honestly, I'm debating about putting a playset of these since we're kind of a semi-tribal deck, but I didn't want to get too greedy, especially since we already have technically a card that allows us to fix our colors. as well as there's some very color-intensive cards, such as Agadeem's Awakening within the list, so I didn't want to get too greedy, let's just say. Nevertheless, that is Zombie Ninjas. Let us see how it does on the ladder, shall we? Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay, Gabs is our opponent. Let's see what shenanigans they're providing today. As for our hand, pretty decent. We could either turn 1 Thousand Face Shadow or turn 2 Shambling Gas. We got a Secluded Courtyard for whatever we need to fix for our mana. We would prefer a second black mana source for our Meat Hook Massacre, but we can keep this. Potentially mono white shenanigans, so we're going to play this on the Murk Water Pathway and then play our Shambling Gas. Here we got a majority of zombies, so I might... Oh! Sword. Okay. We did draw some blue mana, so... yeah, we're gonna do that. Guess we're gonna just swing in. I'm guessing we're going against, like, maybe a Voltron-y list? Maybe Artifact Matter-centric deck designs that I've been seeing going around? Or a party deck? I mean, it does make it tricky to attack in with that. I think here we play the Tainted Adversary. See what our opponent plays next after this. Oh, it's this deck. Uh-oh. Okay, that's gonna be a problem. Okay. Here, I'm gonna name Zombie. There we go. And I'm going to attack in with both of these. Our opponent is theoretically going to block the Shambling Gas. Unless they think we have a You Already Dead, which I would be surprised if they think we have that. They might also block the Death Toucher. I would also be very surprised if they did that. Okay, they blocked that, as suspected. So in that case, we're going to do this. Bring back this to our hand. We're technically losing 1 point of damage to this, but we do get another Shambling Gas on the battlefield, which... nifty in my book. Unless our opponent decides to do a Fateful Absence here. Oh no, we're not, because technically this was originally going to attack in for 2 originally. Here, we're going to create the treasure token, since I feel like we're going to need it. If our opponent goes wide here, I might just do the Meat Hook Massacre, potentially. Just set the board, deal with the factor that we have to deal with an annoying voice of the Bless, and just hope we can kind of like go in a go wide strategy, essentially. So yeah, our opponent's going to attack in with both creatures. Interesting choice there. That might change the plans here, potentially. We do this, we get a treasure. That would give us 2 mana, technically. I'm gonna pass the turn and see what our opponent does here. See if they cast a spell and negate it with Overcharge and Malcolm here. Like that one. Yeah, opponent. No. Sorry. No. And let's see. If we make that 4, I'm actually going to do something weird and actually make this 4. Pretty much asking our opponent if they... Wait, it tapped that? Is it a cast trigger? Oh, it is a cast trigger. Okay, I did not know that. That's annoying. Okay. Well, you learn things. You always learn a new thing. Okay. We're gonna attack in here. Ninjutsu in Nashi. See if we can get something. I will take the land. People might be wondering, like, oh, you should take the Shizuki. We're at real life. So, yeah. We're going to have to play Ninja here. Or we could just play this and force our opponent to be like, well, no, let me check. How many counters does this need to have flying? 4 counters. So if they have any realm of Lifegain, we're dead. So if we played the Death Toucher there. So we kind of have to play it like this. The catch when you're playing Alchemy, you never suspect them to play a card that came from Ravnica's alliances, essentially. The second expansion in the Guilds of Ravnica, kind of like block thing. Anyway, moving on to the next one. Okay, let's see now. We're going against... Okay. Okay, I think we know what reference that was. That's a lot of ninjas, planeswalkers. Opponent goes first. I think we can do that, especially since we have the Forsaken Crossroad. We can play this on black. We'll choose the untap here, so we can play our Shambling Gas. And then we could just essentially play Skullscab turn 2, and... well... yeah, we played this for blue. Do that. Create a treasure token. And get 2 zombies on the battlefield. Angels, eh? Well, here, we're gonna swing in with both of these. Okay, we made our opponent worried about a combat trick. That's perfect. So we're going to play our Kaito.
There are many secrets I don't know. I know something you don't know.
And it's also great that we top deck this, because then, theoretically... like, I seriously need to consider throwing more... non-creature, or pretty much creature removal in this deck, like kill spells and such. Because this deck, when you go against a deck that has anything with a big butt, you're in a bit of a pickle, one could argue. Okay. I'll attack in with this. Yes.
I'll allow it.
Okay, I kind of was surprised. I figured the opponent was going to block with their Angel of Destiny. Personally, I don't mind that, because that allows us to draw a card, and maybe draw an answer to the circumstances. Draw again.
Now, what do we have here?
Okay, so then I guess we're going to flash in the Falcon Abomination for a cheeky block, let's just say. Maybe our opponent will get everything to go at the Planeswalker. Okay. So before that damage is dealt, we're going to play our bird, which is the word, and block with that. Okay. So we attack with everything. We see how our opponent blocks here. They decide not to block, so then we're going to take the Decay Zombie token out for Ninjutsu. Make a copy of this. Honestly, just sacrifice this ninja here. We draw a card. We'll discard this island. Actually, let's discard a Kaito. We already have a second one in hand. Draw a card.
Now this is a juicy secret.
And sure, we will play another Skull Scav. Sacrifice this token. Make a lot of zombies. This is our point where if our opponent has a board wipe, they might want to use it now. A Borrowed Time, though, is pretty nifty. What are they going to remove with it? Probably the Kaido? Makes sense.
I'm used to being uninvited.
Oh, it's a Shepherd of the Cosmos. I figured that was a Doomscar under there. Okay, so our opponent's going into the I'm going to block all of your stuff routine. It seems to be the case. Well, honestly, oop, 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 oop. We only need just one thing to get through here for the ninjutsu trigger from the Moon Circuit Hacker. Buddy. Ooh, yes. We're going to save that for a rainy day. Oh no. How much mana do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 4. I'm kind of hoping our opponent blocks with Valkyrie Harbinger. Yes. Okay, that's what we needed. Do we draw a card here? I think no. We could do... Yeah, we gotta do it for 4. Just to be safe. Portable hole on what? Meat hook. Eh, that makes sense. Oh, this is perfect. Okay, so we're gonna play Shambling Gas. Then we are going to play Felsteiner. We're going to draw the card. Ottawa is... Okay. I think we know what we're going to do here. Fair enough, opponent. That goes back to your hand. Well, let's do the math here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 mana. What's our highest cost permanent here? 3, technically. So let's do this for free. 1, 2, 3. We're going to go get... I'm so tempted to get, like, the card draw engine, but I do think we want the flyer for blocking. We want this, and we want this. Then we get a bunch of triggers. We'll exploit one of these zombies. Create a treasure token. Sacrifice this zombie. And nah, I guess we just pass the turn here. Hope our opponent doesn't draw into a board wipe. I knew I should have played the Meat Hook Massacre for 2. Oi. Anything else, opponent? Well, we can draw a card here.
Ah, here we go again.
We'll say ninja. Okay, opponent. Let's try this again, shall we? Boop. 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 And this time, I'm not going to be a moron and play this for 0. Just in case. And then while we're at it, we're going to play the Selesnya. Sacrifice the Utter Decay token. So many zombies. And pass the turn. So yeah, if our opponent decides to board wipe here, they're going to lose a lot of life. So they're going to go with the make the angel plans. Makes sense. And bada boom! We won against angels with zombie ninjas. Oh, I feel bad for Off Snow Queen now because she loves angels.
Why you're such a silly man? Wait, where'd he go?
But On the other hand, zombie ninjas. 1. I just feel like doing the classic Street Fighter music. Round 1. Yeah.
You win!
Okay, Kelameo? Kelatomeo? I'm tempted to keep this hand, mostly because we have a turn 2 Tainted Adversary, and if we draw into a ninjutsu creature, we'd be off to the races. Though this is a greedy hand to keep, especially if our opponent has any realm of hand disruption. We're going to play this first, since we don't have a turn 1 play. We're going to play this on black, so that we can have a meat hook set up when we need it. Though we will need to get a second blue, inevitably, for our Overcharge Malcolm setup. Okay. Play our Felsteiner. Sacrifice this, draw some cards. Boop, boop. See what our opponent's exactly game plan is. Okay, well, I'm gonna play Kaito. Draw a card.
Hope you're ready for some. Thanks. I'll be taking that now.
Play this on blue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Full grip. I will keep that without a sweat. Let's see what our opponent's thinking of doing. There could have been an argument, though, to make a ninja token so that we can ninjutsu in Thousand Face Shadow and make another copy of, hey, wasn't expecting you.
Aid the underprivileged. They may be a god in disguise. We need not fight here.
Here, I'm gonna make that token.
I got someone on the inside who can help.
Zombie. And honestly, I'm gonna pass the turn. Okay. Lucky enough, this is also Stifle, so we're gonna do that. Sacrifice the ninja token. See what our opponent decides to cook now because of that. You gotta love a good Stifle. Also, very nifty against Channel. Especially when that's in the meta. So, something to keep in mind. Bosejo reached Skyward? Wow, did not saw that coming. Okay, so first things first. Obviously, we gotta get rid of this before it becomes scary.
Evil flourishes now.
I know something you don't know.
Here, I think I'm just gonna take it a little slow, play this. And pass the turn. See what our opponent does here. Plays a prosperous innkeeper. A little bit of Lifegain shenanigans, I see. Okay. Well, blah, blah, blah. Wow, brain fart. We do get to show off a cool interaction with this deck, so. Here. We'll ninjutsu this in. We'll create a copy of that. We don't need a card draw, so we're just going to bada bada boop. Draw with Shizuki.
Thanks.
Play this as a land. And hold up the Falcon Abomination just in case our opponent goes into doing the Le Board Weapon. Though we do have to do against a giant tree now. A branch of a giant tree. Angel of Vitality, eh? Our opponent is definitely in the Lifegain shenanigans. Let's see if they want to attack in with their little... Okay, they don't. So we're going to play the Abomination. Make a lot of tokens. And, well... Opponent's gonna block the Falcon Abominations, as expected. And now we get to do a nifty little trick. Do-do-do-do. Make sure we put the right proper mana in for this. Right. We're gonna ninjutsu with one of the decayed zombie tokens. And let's see what we get from top. I will definitely take this. Then we get to play this as a land, keep the one that's untapped, draw a card,
I know something.
and just hold up the Overcharge Amalgam counterspell. Yep, nope.
Surprise. Get that card out of my face!
Nope to that. We don't need to do the other zombie. We don't need to do the other one. They get a little life gain. A little bit of life gain at the end of turn as well. Then presuming if our opponent is not dead here, they will be dead soon. Interesting enough, they decided to block the Nashi there. Are they going to block with their core? That was the question. Okay. So, here, nothing really. Because honestly, Badu. One for me. And one lethal one for you. GG. Oh, it always feels good when you can win with a sign in blood. And that was Zombie Ninjas. Overall, this is a blast of a deck to play. You can see one alteration I decided to make is cut down one of these to throw in a full playset of Moon Circuit Hacker. I realized that Moon Circuit Hacker, we needed a lot more ninjutsu to get full advantage of this. As for other cards I would recommend in the deck, there's stuff like Call of the Storm Giants as a one-of, just in case if you need a man land to close out the game as a finisher. There is also the Hive of the Eye Tyrant as well for the same factor. That's also just essentially a graveyard hate spell, which this deck is lacking, I will not lie, so you can definitely justify maybe cutting to the basics here and throwing in one of each of those. You can also throw in Deadly Dispute, as I mentioned before, for cutting out our zombie friend here to essentially just get the card draw as well as the treasure, which will help you with that. And if you decide to go a little bit green with your shenanigans, You can run some actually nifty green ninjas within the list, such as, for example, you could run our Bane of Shigeki as another Death Toucher that would be tricky to block with, and essentially allows you to ninjutsu something in. But most importantly, our Ninja Turtle, and not even just based off the pun. As many people have probably known, this is a very enchantment-heavy meta. We see a lot of enchantment and artifacts, we see the runes deck and all that stuff, so you could splice green for this little Ninja Turtle to do some artifact as well as enchantment hate shenanigans. Plus also you can just bring it back with another ninja trigger and then repeat the effect to essentially hate out very problematic enchantments and artifacts, for example, the Wedding Invitations of the world and Meat Hook Massacres of the world. And of course the enchantment creatures of the world, so that's definitely something to consider. Also, another card I would recommend to try out in this deck if you need enchantment hate but you don't want to splash the black, or splash the green specifically. Why did I say black? Blue-black deck. But essentially, if you want to get the enchantment hate but you don't have the ability to splash green, I would recommend Feed the Swarm. It's also another nifty card. The sorcery speed does kind of oomph about it, but it's very nice. It's either that, or you can even run any, like, bounce spell, like your Unsummons of the World, your Fading Hopes of the World, as well as your Royal, essentially your Into the Royals of the World, essentially. So, that is the list. I will provide this updated list down in the AFRHub link below in the video captions. I hope you all have a lovely day, and hope you all are ready for more Neon shenanigans, and then Streets of New Capenna shenanigans. See you later. Bada beep, bada boo.